Thank you for coming to our lunch session. My name is Nadej, and we're going to talk about building community in our first year experience course and foundation classes. So we're going to hear from Professor Kimberly Booth up here from Biological Sciences and Max Fresco from Mathematics and me from first year experience. Lisa Montplaisir also contributed what she and her team of instructors do in their biology classes as well. You'll be able to find those in the toolkit, which has a variety of activities. So why creating community is important. First of all, it enhances a sense of belonging, which is critical for academic and social integration. It promotes participation and engagement, especially in classroom activities, and it fosters a supportive environment for learning. It also helps reduce anxiety and loneliness common among first year students, and it strengthens peer support networks, positively influencing academic performance. Research consistently supports the use of interactive activities for enhancing relationship building. It also boosts student engagement and overall academic success. And it fosters peer-to-peer connections and collaboration. And it's especially beneficial for first year students who are adjusting to college. That is probably more important to them than getting content sometimes in a lot of the students. So the College of Arts and Sciences had all of this in mind when we were designing the first year experience. And we wanted a space that was intended for students to connect and build community and bond with each other that would hopefully then transfer to their other courses with those relationships. These activities were done throughout the semester in classes where we had themes that include critical reflection, emotional intelligence, purpose and vision, even financial management, wellness and being. So every week there's a different theme, and the students would then do collaborative and activities. On the first day, we start within minutes after an overview of semester highlights and expectations. Students turn to their neighbor and take a few minutes to review the syllabus together. And then as a whole, they can ask questions about it. And so that way there's clarity around expectations, and that just starts the process of relying on each other to understand information. They do connection activities throughout the semester to learn more about each other, which helps build trust, and collaborative activities like a photo scavenger hunt and role playing deepen interpersonal and shared experiences. They do poster presentations like a vision board and a well-being assessment wheel, which promotes awareness. And they do this and they present to each other in the room, like a poster presentation. At the beginning of class, almost every class, students do weekly check-ins to become more familiar with each other. They form pairs based on common interests or similarities, such as favorite music genre. So, somebody who's into classical music would pair up with another person who loves classical music, or find someone wearing the same color as you, and or who shares your birthday month. And so by pairing up with people with similar interests, you're just starting to build empathy and understanding already when they start to communicate. The prompts encourage them to reflect and acknowledge weekly challenges and victories, right? Like, what's one thing that's been on your mind lately, or what is one one high of the week and one low? So they have every week a different prompt to talk, and this is something any class of any size can do, and it only takes a few minutes. In your toolkit, there are other activities described in there that could work better for a class that's between 20 and 30. But there are some things that you can definitely customize for larger classes. And then we'll hear from Professor Booth, who will talk in more detail about what she does in her biology class.
Hi everyone, I'm Kimmy. I teach the general education biology courses here at NDSU. So if you guys are basically in any department that's not biology, you are probably sending your students my way to get a science general education elective taken care of. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what I do in my courses as an example of what can be integrated into content. The idea is here is I'll be sharing with you what I do, but really be thinking about how you can integrate it into your own course. And the example I'll be going through is peer recognition as a co-creator in the classroom community. So the first thing that I want you to be thinking about is identify a small group discussion opportunity. So what is something in your class that really lends itself well for students to talk to one another about? An example for me is that I hold a lot of ethical discussions applying course material. So for example, my students often learn about what are called socio-scientific issues. And these are basically biological concepts that share an interface with societal value. So think like COVID vaccines or genetic editing, things like that. So we often talk about how each of these scientific innovations has both benefits, but also limitations to think of and really be mindful of. Basically, what this peer recognition activity can do is you take a small group discussion and you just tack on a few questions that allow students to recognize their peers and how they may have impacted their thoughts and ideas about your particular issue. So those questions that I add to the end of every small group discussion are listed here. So what is something another classmate said during the discussion that expanded your viewpoint on this topic? So this is really twofold because it's making the students really metacognitive and thinking about what do they already know and what did they learn from this particular classroom discussion. So that kind of also gets at like, oh, I didn't learn anything from class today. No, you did, and you're pointing it out, but you're specifically really expanding on how it expanded your viewpoint and how it added to your understanding of whatever topic you've talked about and how it applies to your life or society. So what we're really focusing on here is what other students said in the small group discussion that really expanded their own viewpoint. So these, they have these questions that they uh, have to report out on as a large group. So what this looks like in the classroom then is that if you're in a small group discussion and your group partner says, hey, Max told me that this was something that he thought of in relationship to this topic, it can really make Max feel kind of good, like, oh, I taught Kendra about something. This works well in a face-to-face classroom, but I also teach online classes. And I thought it was really important to help develop this sense of online community, especially in these courses, because they can feel really isolated, right? There's no classroom meeting time. They're not talking with their peers on a daily basis. So I wanted to figure out a way to adapt this idea of peer recognition and small group discussion for online courses. And to do that, I use VoiceThread. That basically allows for these same discussions to happen just in an asynchronous online way. And basically what they do is they create their own videos to respond to whatever that primary small group discussion focus topic was. Then they watch other students' videos. So this would be like, oh, what do you think about this? And then they comment on their peers' videos answering those same peer recognition prompts. So for example, if you were in an online class and you created your viewpoint on a socio-scientific issue, you created your video, someone could comment on your video and say, wow, Kendra, I thought what you said about this was really interesting, and here's how it expanded my viewpoint. So again, you're getting that same feedback just in an asynchronous online way. And I wanted to show you a little bit about what that looked like. From like an instructor perspective, it's VoiceThread is a tool that is integrated into Blackboard, which makes it really easy to grade. You can set your grading rubric which helps with those really large online classes. And then basically here's where you would see the student video. You can see that certain students have commented on the video and you can watch their comments to see what they had to say about it. Something to note is that VoiceThread, it has lots of different modalities that you can create. I choose video so that it really optimizes that real life impersonation, right? Audio and visual, but you can do asynchronous online audio discussion or written comments. I just happen to like video. And some benefits for this peer recognition. First and foremost, I think it improves the student's self-efficacy and really illustrates their role as a co-creator in the classroom community. So often we think about learning as instructors, like pouring a pitcher of water into like the head, the basin of our students' minds. And that's not what teaching and learning is like at all, right? Our students are co-creating in our own classroom. But they're not just co-creating with us as instructors, they're co-creating with each other. And so this is a way for students to really see and embody that experience as being a co-creator of their own community. When you feel recognized or praised by your peers, that just kind of feels good. So this is a real benefit from a student perspective. From an instructor perspective, it's really easy to incorporate and is a pretty low time commitment. Really, all it is thinking about what are your small group discussion topics and adding those questions about, and how did another student expand your viewpoint? And my favorite benefit to this is that it's really versatile. So it can be implemented into any unit of topic to consistently build a sense of community throughout the semester. So that's something I really like about this is that it's very, when I say consistent, I mean, this isn't just like a one-off first day of class icebreaker community building. Like this is something that you can do every single day of class to continue building that sense of community. And I think that's really important when we think about building community throughout a semester. It's not just at the beginning, it's throughout the whole semester. So from there, I'm going to hand it off to Max.
Right, so I'm Max Caresco, lecturer in the mathematics department. I teach large lectures on campus, 100 to 175 students. Easy to get lost in the crowd. These students are just, I mean, they're coming from towns that may not be that big, and now they're in a classroom, an auditorium full of students. I don't teach math majors. They are biology students, finance, business, pharmacy. They don't want to be there for the most part. It's, I mean, who likes math? Raise your hand. Yeah, okay. They're freshmen. They have no idea what's going on. I think we're finding that freshmen are very ill prepared in many, many ways to be here. And it's wonderful that there's the freshman first year experience to bridge that gap. And over the years, I found that Math 144, Math 146, Math 144 is for business, finance majors, 146 is for pharmacy and biological science majors. These classes can also serve as a bridge to get them over to doing what we want them to do. Many of them haven't taken a math class in a year because North Dakota requires 3 credits. And so they get those hammered out freshman, sophomore, junior year of high school. And then they don't want to do the senior year and they've forgotten everything. Some students haven't taken math in 4 years, 5 years, decades. So to address many of these issues, I have adopted a flipped classroom format. I don't want to talk too much about that, but if you ever see me or want to shoot me an email, I'm always happy to talk about and promote the flipped classroom. The general idea is most of the boring lecture instruction is done outside of class via videos, and then we do the practice and mastery in class. And it's very difficult when you have 175 students, but we make it work. The first 2 weeks of the class, I want to set the standard and I want to say, this is what we're going to do. You will be coming to class prepared. We will be working with groups or within groups. Attendance is incredibly important. I've been gathering the data, crunching the numbers, students that are not in class, period. They have to be there. And so I invest that time. I teach 3 sections of these courses. So about 500 students, I take attendance every single day. And that is done through group work. So 2 birds with 1 stone. We're getting students to come, they're attending, and they're getting easy points just for showing up. They need to be active when they do this. They need to be working with their peers. They need to be working within their groups. So it kind of, like I said, sets the tone for the rest of the semester. This is what we will be doing. You can't just sort of slink back and not do anything. Um, these groups need to be 4 or 5 students. So if it's you and your buddy, you got to find at least 2 other people to work with. You cannot work alone. I've found that groups that have 3 people are happy to take on a fourth. It's pretty smooth at this level. If there are friends in the class, you can buddy up with your friends. That's awesome. Uh, Students get to meet new people. If you and your best friend are in this class and you team up with 2 other people, now you've just made some connections. I think you're also in my sociology class. Cool. What's your name? Nice to meet you. And I'm totally fine within these first 2 weeks for students to vary the group composition. If you don't want to work with that person again, fine, but it has to be 4 or 5 students to get students meeting one another, talking, getting to know one another. Um, so we do group work during class. I put up problems on the board. We do them. I do a Q&A. We pause. I say, are there any questions? There are always questions. I have 3 learning assistants in the room. So they report to me and they say, that number 2 problem, nobody knows what's going on. I can hop up on the board, on the document camera. We can go through those problems. It's a wonderful, wonderful process that we have in those first 2 weeks. Then I have gathered data from all the students and I form the groups of 4 students. If you're interested in how I do that, I'd love to tell you. But these are the permanent groups that they will be working with for the rest of the semester. And I take many things into consideration when I make these groups. But we have what's known as group day that happens sometime in week 3, where it's so on Blackboard, you can find your group number, and I just say, find your group. And so it's 5 to 10 minutes of pure chaos. I love it. People calling out numbers. Students are very innovative. They'll put, like, there's an app, I guess you could just put a big number on your phone screen, and so they'll hold up number 15. Everybody's looking for group 15. And then we have a moment or a period of time where you meet one another as everybody else is getting settled, contact information as you're comfortable sharing. Finding a regular spot. I emphasize this is where you'll be sitting for the rest of the semester. So when you come into the room, you know exactly where to go. ADA and CADR guidelines and requirements followed in that. And we play 2 truths and a lie. And this is that one main icebreaker that we do. And I ask the students to prepare ahead of time 2 true things about themselves and 1 lie. And I ask them beforehand because I want to make them interesting. Because if you stump your group members, you get bonus points. And so there's this mathematical problem that we do. What's worth more? 1 point on a test or 1 bonus point?
One bonus,
Why?
because it's not a percent of the one test. I don't know.
So they both are the same.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this question. What's worth more to a student?
Oh.
A point on a test or a bonus point? It's roughly 1,000 to 1 ratio. Yeah. So they'll do anything for bonus points. And so they are trying to deceive their group members. And so I have a slide where I put up 2 truths and a lie, and I have a list on my wallet of all the interesting things about myself that I've thought of throughout the years. It's only 2 things. And then I have a list of lies that I'm very, very, really awesome at lying about. And so so what I encourage students to do, and I demonstrate this first, is I say, here's my 2 truths and a lie. And I just let the class interrogate me, trying to sniff out the lie. And they will eventually be doing this with themselves. And so I guess I'm convincing them to be good liars. Whoops. Anyway, to make it interesting, to make it not, I have 2 dogs, I have 2 cats, I have a brother. I mean, that's what some people come up with, and that's cool. But to make it interesting and to try to deceive one another, there's laughter, there's, oh, yeah, you like the Cowboys? So anybody want to interrogate me real quick? Go through a round of this, see how good of a liar I am. What's my lie?
What's your favorite gospel?
My favorite gospel? I like John.
Why?
It's just not like the others. It's all mystical.
How many weddings have you performed?
I've done 5 weddings, and then I was the unofficial signator of a 6th.
Where did you get your jujitsu belt?
Where?
Mhm.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in Fargo. 2nd Avenue North.
You have one of those special Rubik's cubes that moves faster than the normal one?
I don't. I just have like a Target one. Yeah, but I am red-green colorblind, so it has like little shapes on it as well, and so that helps me solve it. So then we all take a vote. My lie is I don't have a blue belt. I have a white belt.
Oh.
And then all the jujitsu people in the room are always like sizing me up at that point. I am an ordained minister, and this is usually when I break out the Rubik's Cube, and then I say, watch, and then I do it. And if I do it under 2 minutes, awesome. If I take longer than 2 minutes, I give everybody a bonus point. I've never given a bonus point away. So on this group day, they are also given a handout, and this is a very important handout. They keep score because we're all going for bonus points, and I'm not a hawk about this. I mean, some groups were just like, we'll just put it full bonus points, so we all get bonus points, whatever. I guess that's another way of encouraging students to be dishonest. Um, I walk around, I love this day. I walk around and I play with students. I'm just like, let me see if I can figure out what your lie is. And so they've gotten to know me, I get to know them. There are things that I learn on group day that I just remember about them for the whole rest of the semester. And then the LAs, I encourage them to walk around and, oh, the LAs play as well. They have their 2 truths and a lie on the slide. This handout also has roles and duties within their group. And I have some suggestions, like if you have nice handwriting, you can be the person that writes everything down for your group that day. If you're super organized, you can be the person that turns this in and whatever. I have some suggestions. If you're really good at math, if you like math, you could be the math expert, but not the only math person, because your job is also to spread the wealth and to help your group members out. Sometimes the students that are not the math students wind up answering the math questions better than the so-called math person. And that's the whole point of this whole group thing within large lectures. So it creates a sense of belonging within the group that I have a role. I will staple the papers and turn them in at the end of class. It also plays on their strengths. They feel like they're part of the group and not just sitting back waiting for the so-called smart student to answer all the questions. I have various guidelines, rules, and expectations for this. And on the accountability front, I have them do group evaluations at the end of the semester and then grade one another. And it's worth about 6 in-class grading grades. So it's worth a hefty amount of that in-class participation. It's all anonymous. They just see their averages at the end of the semester. They don't see who said what about them. But it does create some level of accountability that they cannot just sit in class and play Candy Crush and expect to get these points. And I also implement a very strict no phone policy while in the classroom. So laptops are out, people are taking notes, but if I see Clash of Clans on the phone, or if I see something unrelated, I will ask you to leave. You go lose points for the day. And I'm very comfortable doing that now. I'm just part of my job, I think. Beyond group day, I have a very accommodating attendance policy. If you're sick, you let me know ahead of time, you get those points excused. There are periodic in-class group quizzes, and so these are quizzes, the dreaded Q word, and so they are very anxious to get these done, but they all help one another out. Those have worked out very well. I have built in, thanks to the flipped classroom, catch up and work ahead days. If you need to get caught up, there will be an entire 50 minutes every other week or so where you just come to class, you have to come, and work on homework, work with your group. You can work within your group or with other groups. I encourage, like maybe that first week you made a friend in group 17, you're in group 15, and you really like working with that person. You can all sit together on these catch up and work ed days and create even more of a sense of community. And again, thanks to the flipped classroom, I have days where I'm just like, I don't know what to put in here. I do have days where I expand upon topics and ideas and like, oh, people didn't really get this last test or last quiz. Let me go over that. But I have days built in on my fall 2025 schedule of, we're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about appropriate and inappropriate uses of AI in this class. And also AI and its role in their future careers. And we'll use AI to figure out how AI can be used in their future careers. Personal finance and investing, something that people are interested in, especially in the 144 class, but they know very little about, but they think they know a lot about. But then we talk about that. Topics relevant to their field, modeling, study tips, time management. I can do that through the Math 144, Math 146 lens. And I bake in a lot of accountability and a lot of personal responsibility that they talk about within their groups every single week. Once a week, there are these types of things built into the schedule. So I always emphasize these levels of help in this class or in these classes. It used to be just the left and the right extremes. It used to be come to class, take notes. Good luck. And if you have questions, here's my office hours. I've recorded all of my lectures. They are now posted on Blackboard and you can watch them anytime you want. You can pause it, you can rewind it, you can watch every single lecture before the test. I have learning assistants in the classroom and they also have office hours outside. But you have people at your level, both in and out of class, that you can rely on, that you can lean on and get help. And lifelong friendships have been made. As a matter of fact, I had a group that I made and two of the people got married recently and I did their wedding. So we're not always aiming for that, but you know, it's nice when that worked out. So any questions for the three of us?
Question for you.
Yeah,
Your online lectures,
yeah.
how long in general are they? And do you feel like they're viewing them typically? I look at my analytics of
Sure.
mine and it's not always great.
How
So,
long are yours?
well, I've changed it now. They're no more than 20 minutes. They used to be longer. I changed it last year or the year before, but still
Yeah.
not always.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like YouTube Shorts and TikTok. If it's not
Okay.
15 seconds, you've lost them. So 20 minutes, my average about 30, 35 minutes. There's some really long ones that I've broken up. I've learned, no, we need to really break this up. I do have quizzes at the end. They are timed, 2 minutes each, and they get 2 attempts. And it's just to see, it's basic stuff like, you know, what was the definition of a differentiable function? Or, I mean, it's not even that hard. It's what was the answer to example 4? And if they took notes, it was 22.8 and they typed that in and they should get 100%.
Just to make sure.
That's why I'm doing it. Yeah. I look at the analytics and it's not good. But then I also have the quiz to make sure that they're doing it because I got to do it.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time.